South Korean leader Yoon Suk-yeol's political fate hangs in the balance as criticism and anger mounts over his botched attempt to impose martial law.
Many are demanding he steps down, with opposition parties tabling a motion to impeach him. The vote could come as early as tomorrow. The opposition is also formalizing treason charges against the president.
Mr. Yoon shocked millions at home and abroad when he declared martial law late Tuesday, triggering protests on the streets of Seoul. He rescinded the order a few hours later, backing down after lawmakers unanimously rejected the decree. Now, for more insight on the political crisis currently gripping South Korea, let's speak with Professor Young-Chul Ha. He's director of the Center for Korea Studies at the University of Washington. Professor Ha, appreciate you joining us on the show today. So let's start with what you're expecting the president to say later. He's expected to address the nation, we understand. Are you expecting him to be contrite and maybe seek some forgiveness, or do you think he's going to be defiant?
Yeah, actually, to answer your question, we need to understand the background of why he took this action this time. I think we should understand his legal background. He is the totally legally minded the prosecutor turned politician. And so his way of thinking is that basically he followed the rules, even this time. So it's very unlikely he would accept his mistake. And then although he might let's say, apologize for some inconveniences because of the martial law, but fundamentally, I don't think he will contrite or the fully accept his wrongdoings. As I said, he's a very, very peculiar individual who has insisted upon everything should be done legally. So, in his own mind, even he might think that he strictly followed the rules even this time.
Okay, so Professor Ha, I'm wondering what options does President Yoon have to him now? I mean, for the opposition, it's very clear he must resign or he faces impeachment. But from a political, constitutional, process or perspective, what can he do?
Yeah, I think there are three scenarios we can think of. The first scenario is his voluntary stepping down. While he does that, he might propose the amendment of the Constitution from the current 5-year single term to 4-year the term amendment, and then he might call for basically political reshufflings in Korean politics. I think if he takes that route, I'm sure Korean society and people will remember him sort of as a contributor to the development of Korean politics. But I don't think that scenario is very likely. And then the second scenario would be he might be driven out of the position of power by continuous mass rallies, as we saw in the case of former President Park Geun-hye. So even so, I don't think the Yoon would comply to the demands of this mass demonstrations. So the final scenario would be, I would say, as you just in passing mentioned, the Assembly will file the impeachment with the Constitutional Court. And the court battles will last at least for several months. And then I'm sure the President Yoon would not mind being engaged in this prolonged legal battles. So I think the third scenario would be most likely at this point.
Professor, Korea's opposition party, it says as long as Yoon is in power, the country is at risk. And they argue he could make another attempt to declare martial law. How likely do you think that's going to happen?
It is very unlikely. I think he must have seen the Korean society not only let's say polarized groups of each party supporting each party, but South Korea's moderate the forces or the stratum of Korean society he saw already did not support his move to declare the martial law. So I don't think he would attempt another round of martial law.
Okay.
But most likely, yeah, he would be. I think he would not mind. I mean, going through this legal kind of battle.
Right. Professor Ha, opposition parties, as we know, have kickstarted this whole process of impeaching him. But I'm wondering, is there unity within Yoon's party, the People Power Party? I mean, it has 108, so at least 8 have to cross party lines. I mean, how likely is that? Is it going to happen, you think?
I think in the longer term, there are possibilities that the party might be split. But in the short term, they might not see the successful impeachment of Mr. Yoon because it is against their own interest. Because if impeachment succeeds, I think most likely the opposition party leader will be elected as next president. So since the ruling party does not want to see that happen, I think most likely they will oppose the impeachment. But then, as you said, it is quite clear that this time the ruling party, even the head of the ruling party, was not informed of this sudden move of martial law declaration. Also, there had been ongoing kind of the tension between the President Yoon and the head of the ruling party for several months already. There's likely that the ruling party may demand that the President Yoon should leave the party. In fact, that has as far as I have been reading, that has been one of the 3 demands posed by the ruling party to the President Yoon.
Understood. Professor Ha, we do have to leave it there for now. Appreciate you talking to us here on Asia First. Professor Yoon Ha is director of the Center for Korea Studies at the University of Washington.